Hello everybody and welcome back to my F1 23 My Team Career Mode campaign. We are now at Austria for the Austrian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last one from Canada, do be sure to check that one out before you check this out. Heading into the halfway point of the season then, and we have really turned the momentum in the last couple of races with 2 wins on the trot. Not a bad way to reignite the championship fight, but now we have to carry on that momentum. I'm hoping that we can get at least a podium finish from this race, if not the win. But yeah, I'm really happy with the strides forward we've made. We've also attached a couple of upgrades in the last race or two as well, which has really helped improve the pace of the car. And we are right there with Mercedes, right there with Gasly, so the fight really has begun, and we've got ourselves through Q1 very nicely, going around Q2 now, and just this car is dancing round the corners. It feels like it's on rails. This is feeling very good. This is feeling very competitive, and I'm very confident about the weekend ahead. Although I'm dipping my wheel on the grass there, and we ended up 5th in Q2, which I didn't think was too bad. And Drugovich, look at that, fastest of anybody in Q2, but now it's to Q3, and this is where it all counts. The sun is going down on this Friday evening qualifying. What can we do? Where are we going to stick this car? We are absolutely dancing around these corners. A little bit wide there, but that's fine. Heading in tight for the final corner. Where are we going to be? It's P7, so we kind of struggled towards the end of that lap, I'll be honest. It felt like the car was really dancing around the first half of the lap. But in that second, well, towards the last few corners, we really lost some time. But we've got a sprint and a race ahead of us, so let's get our head down, see what we can achieve.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Gasly, Leclerc, Verstappen, Sparkles, Norris, Perez, Bottas, Magnussen, Théo Pourchaire, Ocon, Tsunoda, Stroll, Liam Lawson, De Vries, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Albon, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
First up, it's a sprint race. 12 laps here at Austria. What can we do from P7 on the grid? It's lights out and away we go, or away Leclerc does not go, and that holds us up just a little bit. I was hoping we could have a look at Verstappen too, but we had to take avoiding action from Leclerc, who was, well, I reckon I could have got out and walked faster than he got off the line. But now we're attacking George Russell for P5. Verstappen's moved up a place to P4. So Verstappen having quite a good start. And we're taking a dive down the inside of Russell. And that ended up being a double move to see if we could pass Verstappen too. And we have passed Verstappen too. So he had made him up a couple of places, but he's lost one now to me. And now we're having a look at Sainz and Gasly up ahead. Drugovich building up a lead. And this is what I was talking about. Our car is super competitive around here. Right, now to the outside of Carlos Sainz to P3. Sainz is on the inside. We're on the outside. Sainz getting a very good run through the corner there. Not today, sunshine, says Sainz as he holds on to P3. We're having to settle for P4 for now. But I am hoping that when Sainz and Gasly get more involved with each other, that might be my way forward. So they are quite close together at the moment. Drugovich is just waltzing away with it out front. Nobody is bothering him in this sprint race. Even if we get up to P2, I don't think we'd have the pace to catch. Right, here we go. We've got a little bit of a run on Sainz. Are we close enough to go down the inside? No, not quite yet. And I'm looking for ways, ducking and diving, and we got a red flag. So what has happened here? We're watching Esteban Ocon. Heck of a battle going on ahead of him. McLarens and Alpines, I think, are involved in that. Yes, the 2 McLarens and an Alpine involved in that. Ocon watching the battle too much and not watching what he's doing. He's gone round. A traffic jam has been caused, and we have the first red flag of the weekend. So that gives me a little bit of a breather here and a chance to rethink how we're going to go about. I mean, it's a sprint race. There's only very few laps left of it. So how do you strategize at this moment? We decided we're going to go with the soft tyre, so we're not using up any medium tyres for the race. So I've picked to go for the softs. That seemed to be the best course of action. Right, back on the grid. 5 lights. And it's go, and I'm a little bit caught out there by how quick the lights were. And George Russell has taken P4 back from me. But look at this. Gasly and Sainz are attacking Drugovich. Carlos Sainz has now got the lead of the sprint. Drugovich having to settle for second. There's Gasly in third. We've got ourselves back into fourth. I was having a look there. Round the outside, we got another safety car. And Gasly just barged Drugovich out of the way during the safety car. That can't be allowed. But we got a red flag. Why? Because Charles Leclerc is randomly stuck on the track, halfway round the track. And that was when they were doing the restart. So why on earth Leclerc decided to line up there, I don't know. That can only be a Ferrari strategy decision. We think the best strategy for the race is not to line up on the grid, but line up by turn 4. Yeah, that seems to be legit. Or on the exit of turn 4, should I say. But yeah, we're back on the grid again after 2 red flags in a sprint race. Never seen that before. And we've got 5 laps to do now, so it's a straight run to the finish. And it's go, go, go for the 3rd time in the sprint. Sainz, well, mirroring Leclerc's first start on this sprint race by not really getting away at all. And as a result of that, Gasly got held up. Drugovich took the lead. I've taken P2. And it is a Lotus JT 1-2 out there in this sprint race. And that is exactly where we want to be. Maximising team points there. Now, I made the decision at this stage that I was not going to attack Drugovich. There was no point compromising good points in a great grid position for the sake of an extra point. Right, here comes Pierre Gasly now on Carlos Sainz. He's had enough of staring at the Ferrari rear wing, and Gasly taking that P3 and moving on ahead. George Russell now is going to be eyeing Carlos Sainz for P4, and the Mercedes driver is down the inside. Is he going to get it done? No, because Sainz carried such good momentum out of 1, and Sainz is really showing great defensive driving here as we head up towards the right-hander, and well, nothing happens there, but this time, on the final lap of the sprint, Russell down the inside, Sainz again holding him, but Russell's not giving up yet. He's got the DRS, he bowed his time in 1, and now he's going to go around the outside, and Sainz still trying to keep the place, but Russell around the outside, up into P4. But for us, like I said, I just chose not to attack Drugovich. I do feel like we could have got a few tenths of a second a lap faster and potentially passed him if I really attacked it. But again, I had no desire to do that. At this stage, I was just bringing the car home and bringing home P2 in the sprint, bringing home a front row lockout for the team. But Felipe Drugovich is the winner of the Austria sprint race, and he sets the fastest lap doing so. While I was backing out of it, I don't think he was. Drugovich was making a full-on point there. But there you go, Felipe Drugovich wins and will start on pole. It's an all-Lotus JT front row with me starting second. Gasly is third, Russell fourth, then it's Sainz, Perez, Magnussen and Verstappen really losing out throughout the course of the sprint. He was running in the top 4 at one point, but he really dropped back. And this is how the points now look. We are 18 points shy of Gasly, and we're only 3 shy of getting ahead of Verstappen in the standings to take P2. Russell is also there. Norris, he had early He looked good in the early stages of the championship, but he's kind of fallen off. And Drugovich making his presence known in that sprint. What is going to happen in the feature race? Who knows? Bring it on.
From the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, and Sparkles completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Russell, Sainz, Perez, Magnussen, Verstappen, Bottas, Stroll, Norris, Ocon, De Vries, Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Albon, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Sargent, Théo Pourchaire, and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order.
The Austrian Grand Prix is ahead of us. It's an all Lotus JT front row. What can we do in the race? It's lights out and away we go. Good start by Drugovich and a very decent start by myself as well. Drugovich defending the inside as he's entitled to do. I've moved into P2 now and I'm kind of hoping that we can build a tiny bit of a gap and see where we go from there. Drugovich leading the way. I am in second. Gasly in third. Then it's Sainz and Magnussen, your early top five. Or should I say Sainz and Perez? Because Perez is moving up, and you know what? I'm fancying an early go at Drugovich here. Drugovich goes defensive. I'm going to the outside. How is this one going to end out? We're still side by side here. I'm side by side with Drugovich, but Drugovich just has the better momentum there and carries on leading this Austrian Grand Prix. And we head to the end of lap 2. We're going to have DRS. Drugovich sets the fastest lap, but that's immediately beaten by me. The gloves are off in this feature race now, and I am going after the win, and it'll be a third win in a row if I can obtain it. But Drugovich so far holding on to the lead, and Gasly is still right there. I don't like how close Gasly is. We're now heading on to lap 4, and I'm using all the road and a bit more to try and catch up with my teammate Drugovich. And we've now got a great run here heading into turn 1. Drugovich goes defensive. I'm going to the left. Side sets fast lap. Round the outside we go. No, it's gone wrong. We bang wheels and the teammates collide. I've gone wide. I've got wing damage. Oh, no, 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 no. That is not what we needed at all. As I dive down the inside, we're 3 wide into the corner. I've gone straight off. And I think Drugovich has taken further damage. Right, let's dissect this. So it looked like Drugovich was a bit wide there and went into me. And that's when I went off as well. And now Gasly's having a look at Drugovich. I've slipstreamed them both and tried to go down the inside of the pair of them, but I've run out of track and gone wide. And Drugovich tapped Gasly and completely damaged his front wing. But on this angle, I turned in way too early. So you know what? That looks like that's mostly my fault there. I've turned in too early, banged wheels with Drugovich, damaged my front wing, and then of course Gasly attacked and Drugovich ending up hitting Gasly. And wow, I'm sorry lad, I am so sorry. I have just really cost the team quite a lot of points here. I've got damage as well, but I'm going to carry on an extra lap so that I'm not holding up Drugovich in the pits, and so he doesn't lose more than he already has. That's a gutting mistake to make, but now we've just got to keep going with it and make the best of it. In the next lap, I'm into the pits for a change of nose and a change of tyres. We're going to move on to the soft compound tyres, I think, and run them as far as we can. Meanwhile, Leclerc, he's trying to recover after his sprint race antics of just parking it on the exit of a corner and leaving it there. And first off, he's having a look round the outside of Théo Pourchaire for P16. But Pourchaire's having none of it, and if anything, Pourchaire's having a look at gaining on Tsunoda. but he wasn't able to do that. Right, we're now leaving the pit lane. Well, we're in the pit lane, should I say, having our front wing changed, and every second feels like an eternity when you know cars are zooming past. And like I said, I just have to apologise to Drugovic, really. That was... yeah, we've just thrown away a decent handful of points there. But it's time to move forwards and see how many places we can get. Look at this battling that's going on ahead of us. Sargent and Albert, I think, were battling over position as we pass Oscar Piastri in the AlphaTauri, who's having an absolute shock horror show of a season with AlphaTauri. We've got past Albon as well, and Piastri is now finding his way past Albon. Next up is Logan Sargent, and we're going to see if we can get past him as quickly as possible. Hulkenberg is also directly ahead of him. Sargent, well, he's dispatched, but we nearly lose it, and in fact Sargent passes us back. We managed to get past Sargent and Hulkenberg though. Next up is Leclerc, Tsunoda and Porsche. Leclerc dispatched. Tsunoda, a little bit trickier, but dispatched. And next up is Porsche, and Tsunoda still keeping a wheel up the inside there. He's definitely wanting to have a look, but Porsche is now in P14, and this now becomes a recovery drive to see how far we can put the car up the field. But first things first, we've got to pass Porsche, who's having to go at Lance Stroll in the Alpine. We're going to try and dive down the inside of them both. And unlike in the early stage of this race when we went off the track, we actually complete a double overtake and move into P13. Next up is Liam Lawson in the Williams. So Lawson is next to be overtaken. And then it's Zhou up ahead. Or should I say De Vries, because I think Zhou has passed De Vries. First up there, we're going to get past Lawson, go to the outside. Lawson is done. Next up is Nick De Vries in the Alfa Romeo, and he's battling Zhou. He's battling his teammate, actually, so let's see how that one carries on. But we've got past Lawson, and we need to get past these two Alphas because they are battling each other, and we don't want to lose any more time than we already have battling cars we don't need to. Right, De Vries first. De Vries trying to go for the inside, and I've decided to brake super late and complete a double overtake on the Alfa Romeo. That is how it's done. Next up is Max Verstappen in P9. So Verstappen not having a great day, but he's just got past Valtteri Bottas, and Bottas, coincidentally, is the next car for us to overtake. Bottas trying to stay very tight for the right-hander. We're going to go around the outside, and we should be able to sweep round the Alpine driver quite nicely up into 9th place. So we're looking at some points here. We also have a fastest lap for good measure, so that should allow us an extra point too. Damage limitation becomes the name of the game here as we watch what I believe is Yuki Tsunoda coming to a halt. AlphaTauri season has been pretty miserable so far, and it's only getting worse from here. Right, we're now on the tail of Max Verstappen, and he's not too far behind Esteban Ocon, and we take a very late dive on Verstappen, and predictably we go wide, but I'm going to try and get him into the next corner here. Oh, that's a late move, but Verstappen seeing it coming, giving the space, and that is now P8 for us as we approach Lando Norris and Esteban Ocon. Come on, Esty Bestie, what you got? And we have now pitted on for hard tyres, so we're now going to the end of the race when the tyres are on. We did come out behind Lawson, but Lawson now pits, and yeah, we managed to pit in. I was going to see if I could gain any kind of undercut, which I have. There were still drivers to pit. We managed to get past Ocon and Norris in all of that, and now we're on the back of George Russell for what is a very respectable P4 at this stage. I am hoping we can stretch it to a podium with the pace the car has, but if not, I will just happily accept P4 after everything that's happened in this race. But first things first, we've got to overtake the Mercedes first, and Russell, I don't think is going to be very inclined to make this easy to get past. But we're now using the slipstream, using a bit of DRS, using a bit of overtake, or what we had left of overtake, Round the outside we go and up into P4. So that's where we are for now. Let's see if we can catch Sergio Perez. Meanwhile, we've got Charles Leclerc battling Valtteri Bottas now to move himself into some points. Leclerc's recovery has probably not been as quick as he'd hoped. There's a McLaren and an Aston Martin battling there. I think that's Ocon battling Magnussen. And Charles Leclerc gets his man, gets ahead of Valtteri Bottas. And now he's having a look at Esteban Ocon down the inside. So it was Magnussen getting past Ocon then. Norris down to 9th. So Norris has not had a great run of things in the second half of the race at all. But here comes Charles Leclerc round the outside of Ocon. That should be the place this time, as Ocon did well to hold on to it round the previous right-hander of turn 3. But Leclerc now through up into P7, and Lando Norris is now tucked up behind him. But now Norris has got some kind of problem, and he was gaining on Ocon and Leclerc, but now that's not happening. Norris has got a car issue, and he's currently fighting my teammate Drugovich, and Ocon has got back ahead of Charles Leclerc now. So Ocon, well, these two are just battling till the end, aren't they? Meanwhile, we've got Drugovich trying to get past Norris. It's been a rotten day for our teammate, but if he can just grab an extra point here, it might be slightly less rotten for him. And Drugovich does make it down the inside of Lando Norris up into P9. Will he be able to catch Ocon and Leclerc by the end? For us, we weren't really able to make a dent on Sergio Perez, and we had gained up to about a second to a second and a half by lap 30, but from that point on it just seemed too tall an order. So I'm not really pushing anymore. I'm just trying to bring the car home in P4, which I will accept after everything that's happened in this race, but it just didn't seem worth it to push harder, maybe get to within 5 or 6 seconds of Perez, and then risk throwing the car away and losing the points we have. It is a win for Pierre Gasly, so in terms of the championship, that's a dent we couldn't really afford. Gasly taking the win, Sainz second, Perez third, and our day ends with P4.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Smiling faces on the pit wall then after that superb win here in Spielberg. And rightly so, a brilliant effort from the whole team. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take the top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. Let's have a look then at the drivers.
Well, congratulations to Pierre anyway. I'm going to acknowledge my rival had a great race, stayed out of trouble, didn't collide with his teammate in the end, and that is why he is the race winner. Sainz second, Perez third. Damage limitation done quite well there in fourth in my opinion, and I do feel like that is the maximum we could have done in terms of damage limitation, and George Russell was fifth, followed by Magnussen, Leclerc, Ocon, Drugovich and Norris, your final point scorers, which means the championship gap is now 30 points, so we have lost a few points there but I feel like with our comeback,
Wait to see
we
what's
didn't
next.
lose as many points as we could have, but still, bit of a day to forget, really. Well, thank you for watching this installment of Career Mode. Don't forget to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new and you want to see more content from me. Until then, take care, TTFN. Thank you once again for watching.